introduction for the Kennel. Who on earth is Elijah Green? New paragraph. Actually, I hope and pray and think it is safe now, 7 years after the fact, to reveal that Elijah Green is a pseudonym for me, Ken Hovind. New paragraph. Let me explain. New paragraph. The prophet Elijah was a famous man of God in the Bible. The king hated him and sought to kill him because he preached the truth boldly and exposed the corruption in the kingdom and the sins of the king and queen. See 1 Kings 17 through 2 Kings chapter 2. Evil men and women have always hated honest, bold, outspoken men of God who simply do their job. They can't handle the truth. John 3:19 and 20 tells us that evil men fear the light. Scores of Bible examples from Abel in Genesis to Jesus to John to Revelation show that evil men persecute good men. New paragraph. I've been a child of God since February 9, 1969, an ordained Baptist preacher since May 25, 1974, a high school science and math teacher for 15 years, a creation science evangelist since 1989, and an innocent man in the huge federal prison system since November 2nd, 2006. Need details on 2peter3.com and freekenhovind.com. New paragraph. Since I strive to understand and boldly and openly preach the truth of God's Word, and I often expose the evil, corruption, lies, or just stupidity of things that happen in our schools and government, I have made some powerful enemies too. Smiley face. Hence the pseudonym Elijah. New paragraph. At the federal prison camp in Edgefield, South Carolina, where I was in 2008 when I wrote the Kennel, we wore green. New paragraph, hence the name Elijah Green. Smiley face. New paragraph. I'm currently embarrassed. I am completely embarrassed by the fact that even though I have been a serious student of the Bible for 46 years now, I completely missed the obvious fact that God's perfect Word, see Psalm 12, verse 6 and 7, and Psalm 19, verse 7, never authorizes prisons at all. I had to come to one to see this simple truth. Under God's law, criminals were given either a fine, parentheses, Exodus 22, or a beating, parentheses, Deuteronomy 25, or executed, parentheses, Exodus 21, depending on the crime. Only the heathen nations around Israel had prisons, and God's people often suffered in them, like Joseph, Jeremiah, Daniel, Peter, Paul, and many others. For nearly 40 years of my Christian life, I was guilty of crying tough on crime and advocated the unscriptural and cruel American prison system. I was guilty of calling for long prison terms for criminals. I now see how insane and wrong I was. We are punishing the wrong people. Long prison terms are tough on families and all Americans who are forced to pay for this bloated, cruel, senseless, and ineffective system. Truly, our judges and prosecutors give out burdens grievous to be borne, just as Jesus said in Matthew 23, verse 4. I'm sorry, God. I've seen the light and will now help shine the light. Like Gideon's 300 did in Judges 7, please join me. For this study, Elijah Green is an average, middle-aged man out for a drive in the country when he accidentally finds something that changes his course and philosophy of life forever. I pray it'll change yours too. Just as Harriet Beecher Stowe's classic book, Uncle Tom's Cabin, opened people's eyes to the insanity of the American slavery in the 1800s, and as George Orwell's 1946 story, Animal Farm, showed the evils of communism, I pray that the Kennel will sound an alarm and expose the evil. All for money, of course, it always is, see 1 Timothy 6:10, parentheses, of our American prison industrial complex. Please share this story with others before it's too late. All right, that'll be the end of the intro.
Okay, very good. I'll stop it right now then.